Are you ready? Hey there, you are listening to Thynktank Millionaire Podcast, where on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you get an unfiltered, raw, and authentic conversation about the challenges of being an entrepreneur and tips and tricks on how you can scale your business to the next level. If you are looking to scale your business, then get ready to buckle up. Introducing our host, Alexa D'Agostino.
Welcome to Thynktank's Millionaire Podcast, a podcast where you have real entrepreneurs talking about real problems and giving you real solutions to help you scale to the next level. Hello, everyone. My name is Alexa D'Agostino, and I am your host. Today, we're discussing how to leverage social media to grow your business. It's an infamous social media, right? So today I have two amazing people. First is my amazing business partner, Miss Cynthia, our VP of Marketing. She's incredible at social media, and that's actually how we met, is through social media, which is actually pretty funny. I think that was a pretty good reason for posting for a year straight, right, Cynthia?
It has proven to be, y'all. Yeah.
It does pay tenfold, if not 100-fold, right? The second is our amazing client, Maggie. She runs a social media marketing agency. I cannot wait for you to hear the gems that she has, because she is an expert in this field, and I'm excited to learn from her too. So first, why don't we start? Maggie, why don't you first introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are and what you do?
So, hey, everyone, I'm Maggie Carey. I'm the owner of Master It Media. I'm a social media strategist. I elevate brands by developing an engaging social media presence to build them an audience of raving fans. And I love working on social media. It's one of the things that I think businesses can leverage, because it's even the free components are so powerful, and it levels the playing fields with the big guys. So one of the amazing things that I find with my passion with social media is that people can really be their authentic selves on social. And that's what draws in. We talk about this all the time. You have to build that trust factor. And that's when people are on your social media and you're just being you, your amazing self. That's what draws people in. How easy is that, right? It's just a couple of little things you need to work on, right, Cynthia?
Absolutely, Maggie. I was like, ooh, I love your introduction.
Let's take that. You actually bring up something really interesting, Maggie, right? So you say authenticity, be yourself and all that, but let's be honest, a lot of the people that are listening, we know they're small business owners, they're entrepreneurs. This social media to us, I mean, we're technologists, we're strategists, we're marketers. So social media is kind of fun for us, and we understand the ROI because we get incredible ROI. I know we do on our end. And so for us, it's easy, it's fun. But for others, think about it, right? It has technology, content, writing, design, strategy, lead generation, organization. It's like all wrapped up into one function of a business. And for us, it's like, that's easy. But for others that aren't in this, it's like ads, like so overwhelming, right? And then in addition, people don't know that they can be authentic and be themselves. They think they have to be this, person or this specific type of words and things. And the truth is people want to do business with people they feel like they actually really truly know, and they know if you're fake, right? So start with that. Like, how can, and I'm going to ask Maggie first, like, how can a business owner simplify social media so that it's actually an effective tool for your business and not a thorn in their side?
Oh, that's such a great question. I find that when businesses take the time to sit down and plan out their content, with our services that we provide, we only spend 30 minutes with our clients, and then we do all the hard work for them, right? All we do is we talk to them, we figure out what's going on, right? So if you take that and you sit down and you plan out what you want to talk about, what's your goal? Like, you have to have a goal in mind, and you always have to think audience first. You always have to think about that person. Part of my background is in theater, and I love to perform. And when you think about this, you're entertaining your audience. So you have to keep your audience in mind and what they're looking for and what they need, and then their goals. But like with anything, if you're planning your business, anything in your business, right? You have to sit down and plan it. You have to take time to figure out what you want to promote, but what your audience needs, and then match those by creating, do a month at a time. So at least you don't want to go too far. Could you imagine in January of 2020, if you had done your whole year's worth of content, what would have happened to your content 2 months later, right? So I think a month at a time is a good kind of goal. Like do a month, get your content laid out, your goals of what you want to do. I see Cynthia's nodding her head, right? This seems to be a way, and then you can always feed in like that in the moment kind of posts every once in a while.
Absolutely. And for everyone who has ever seen me on this podcast, know that I love stories. So I'm going to tell a story, right?
You do? I did not know that.
I know.
Please tell me. You like storytelling?
Oh my God. But ever since my teenage years, I've always loved the digital space, right? I was the kid who my mom would go, get offline. What are you doing online? Even my little sister would like try to bully me sometimes. So like when we were at like dinner and stuff and I'm like chatting, she's like, get offline, be in the moment. And to be honest, it never made sense to me because I'm like, okay, I'm online, but these are real people. I'm talking to real people right now. I've made friendships with people online that have lasted 7 years or more. I've made friendships with people online when I was like 20 and, I'm in my late 20s now, So it never made sense to me. So the first thing I want to tell business owners, first of all, to shed that idea that social media is this thing you shouldn't care about, is first and foremost, for the most part, people online are real people. That's the first thing you need to understand is that they're real people. And what do real people need? Real people want connection. Like Maggie said, real people want entertainment. Real people want edutainment. Real people want information. Real people want advice. Real people are seeking a guide, right? So that's the first place to start as a business owner is understand that there are real people out there who need your help as a business owner. Position yourself as their guide. Figure out what it is you can offer them and create your social media strategy from that place of knowing.
So let's summarize that, right? So I like to summarize things because I think it's important, right? So let's put both of what you just said together. Take time to plan, everybody. What's your goal? Who's your audience? They're real people. These are not fake people. These are real people that have emotions, that have needs, that have things that they need. They have problems that need solutions. These are real people. And then once you have that, the strategy, plan out your content ahead. It's stressful to be planning what your content is that day. Or even if it's Monday, it's even stressful to think, what am I posting Thursday, Friday? Like get ahead of it, right? So in general, right, it sounds simple, right? Plan, know who it is, and then post. Like it sounds really simple, but we can all agree it is a little bit more complicated. Why we all have jobs and why people hire us, right? So let's break down a simple strategy. You started to go through this, Maggie, right? So step one is create a strategy, right? But now what? So what are the first steps of creating a good social media plan? Because no offense, there's a lot of really bad social media out there and there's a lot of really bad content. So let's talk about creating good social media content and what does it look like? What are the steps?
Oh my gosh, there's so much to do, right? And you're right. This is why people hire us because it becomes overwhelming and, painful to create your content. So you want to have a hook. You want to have some meaty, juicy edutainment, right? That goes into detail. And you want to have a strong call to action. So each post should have minimum those 3 components. If you can work in a story in that, like Cynthia said, so important. And then, you have to have imagery to go with it. You have to have beautiful, something like, and by beautiful, it doesn't mean like, it just has to look good. Right? Whatever that is.
My daughter says beautiful. So I'm like thinking of her right now going, beautiful.
It is beautiful. Beautiful. And you do, you have to look at your content also in variety. You don't want to be posting, you want to have testimonials, you want to have quotes, you want to have tips and tricks, but you don't want to have testimonial. Tip, right? You want to create buckets or pillars, or whatever you want to call them, so that you're varying your content. And my biggest thing, and the thing that I find most businesses don't do, is they don't look at their analytics. They have to see what resonates with their audience. I had a client who was like, oh, my followers are all men between the ages of 45 and 55. And guess what? They weren't. They were women between the ages of 35 and 45. It was a younger and a different gender. So you want to create your content to feed your current audience, because that's where you're stronger, and then build. So there's a lot of moving pieces, Alexa, with this. I see that, when you sit down to plan these things is when you can kind of figure this out. So you should be looking at your analytics when you're planning. You also should be varying your content and creating that engaging thing, and have fun with it. Like, don't be so nobody likes to be pitched to, nobody likes to be sold to, right? So I usually say 70% of your content should be all giving information away, right? Give them your best. Give them your best stuff, because they're going to wonder, wow, if they're giving this away for free, what are they doing when I pay them? Number one. Number two, it's also establishing yourself as an expert in your industry. So when you do all these things together, it really does gel. There's a lot of moving pieces, and it can get complicated. Start small, start your plan, then implement your language, how you're going to talk, right? And that authentic self. So I was saying 70% giving away free tips. I say 20% can be your promotional, painless posting, do your social media in 5 minutes or less a day, right? That's a pitch, but it's worded in a way where it's helping them. And then 10% is sharing other people's content, especially on a platform like LinkedIn, right? Where you really can do things, and Twitter, retweeting, right? Those are things that you can kind of give your audience a little bit more information and show that you've got your finger on the pulse of what's trending.
Absolutely. And I just want to emphasize one thing Maggie said before I share my own recommended steps, just to add to what Maggie has said already. Diversifying your content is very important, right? So Maggie said, people don't typically come on social media to be sold to. They come on social media to be entertained. And one of the easiest ways to entertain them is to diversify your content, right? Maggie already talked about making it look beautiful. Yes, there's a lot of competition out there. Sometimes it's the effort you put into presenting your content that sets you apart from other people. So now that said, Alexa knows this. I've worked with many of our clients on this process. So usually what I do to help you establish your social media presence, strategy is I do something called a deep dive, right? A brand dive. We talk about you, talk about your story, talk about everything related to your life that has led you to your offer. And that's where it starts. And then I walk you through what I call my 5 storytelling touch points. Now, before I go into the 5 storytelling touch points, story is timeless. Story is important. I've been on this podcast several times. I've said that. Story is important. Story is what helps you connect the most easily to people, right? And so even in your social media, I walk you through the 5 storytelling touch points. And the first one is, what is your objective? What do you want to do for people? What do you want to help people achieve? The second touch point is, what are the pain points or the problems that your target audiences experience that stops them from that objective, that thing you want to help them achieve, right? And those problems and pain points are the things that keep your target audience up at night. So beyond just the demographics, think about the psychographics. What are the things that keep them up at night? A typical business owner worries about, what do I post tomorrow, right? Or should I even post at all, right? Those are things the typical entrepreneur worries about as pertains to social media. When you have a clear understanding of what your target audience struggles with and the things that concerns them, it's easier to connect to them, because people tend to trust people who they think understand them. So once they see that you understand them, in their minds, they already place you as a guide that potentially has a solution to their problems. And the third thing is, what is your unique insight? This is what sets you apart from other people. So there's so many people out there talking about social media. What makes you different, right? So what unique insight do you offer to solve your target audience problems? And then the fourth thing is, what is the solution, right? This is where you come in as a guide and start to offer solutions. And then, of course, the fifth part is, like Maggie said, your call to action. Strong calls to action are the most powerful tool for an entrepreneur on socials. And your call to action can be anything from follow me to DM me, right? It depends, whatever that is, depending on where you are in business. Like Maggie said, there's the visibility stage of business, and then there's the lead gen stage of business, right? So are you in the visibility stage or are you in the lead gen stage, right? Depending, you figure out what your calls to action are.
So can you argue that storytelling is essential to success? Because, I mean, let's be honest, we look at a lot of social media and people are just barking at their audience. Like, it was actually funny because I had posted in our mastermind group, we're all in the same mastermind group, and I had posted that, you know, this lady had written me, if you remember the story, and she wrote me and she was like, oh, you're amazing, your content's great. And I wrote her back immediately, oh, well, thank you. Your work is amazing. Because her portfolio, she's an interior designer. Like, her work was incredible. And by the way, she lives and does work where I'm moving, which she didn't know, by the way. So this was like, you know, another little tidbit. She potentially lost a client. Well, actually probably did lose a client, but besides the point. And so I write her, and then she doesn't write me for like 4 weeks. And then writes me 4 weeks later. So naturally, I'm like, hey, where have you been? Like, you know, we talked 4 weeks ago. And her response was, well, I'm not getting any leads or business off Instagram. So I said, all right, well, here's some advice. Your portfolio is amazing, but your entire Instagram is only your portfolio. So you're not going to get people engaging with you and new customers. What you're going to get is people that are already in market looking for you, like verifying your stuff. Like, yeah, you might get somebody that comes across your stuff and goes, ooh, that's pretty. But most of the time, those people are looking for information or inspiration. They're not looking for you. If you really want to expand and grow, you've got to not talk to your audience, but with your audience and have a conversation, right? And she ended up like blowing up at me. But anyway, besides the point, because she didn't agree with me apparently, but apparently I don't make any money, guys. I'm broke. So, but anyway, my point is here in that story is like, yeah, you're not making any money off social media because you're just barking at your audience.
Very well said, Alexa. You don't want to talk at your audience. You want to have conversations with them. And I'll tell you another funny story, which just, I think, shows the power of authentic connections. Most of you know that I've been so busy building our business, Alexa, that I haven't quite engaged in my audience on social media in a while.
Yesterday, I was going yesterday, actually, and I was like, where's your content?
Right. So I was going through my DMs yesterday, and I just saw a simple message from someone, post more. I laughed so hard.
That's awesome.
Oh, I love that.
And that's like it's happened to me several times on my journey, right? People are like, oh, aren't you posting today? So like when I did my 100-day journey and I was posting every day, that has happened before. I was like, oh, aren't you posting today? Yesterday's were just post more. I was like, I got you. I get the message. I'll be back soon. So
that speaks to consistency, right? Like your audience, when you give them, it's like, you know, I get very frustrated because I love entertainment myself, right? So watch TV, watch movies, right? Love.
Now, Maggie, now that I know that you're a performer, like when we go to Vegas, you're going to perform something. I'm just saying.
I know they're going to make me perform. So
perform together.
Let's do it. So my point was like, you know, like you get involved in a series, right? That gets released every Friday. And then all of a sudden, like they don't release on Friday. And you're like, what the heck, man? Like, I need to find out what happened, right? Like, I need the next piece of the story. Like, you left me hanging. Like, that's how your audience will feel if you don't post on your socials. You know, we've been posting on Master at Meeting. We're like every social, right? We post every day, sometimes multiple times a day, and always giving value and always giving tips, right? Almost to the point where somebody said to me, you give too much away. I'm like, there's no such thing.
No such thing.
No such thing. But that being said, right, my audience is used to that. And they, you know, I get, you know, Alexa and I are part of the same networking group. And I get a lot of people saying, if you're not following Maggie on social media, you need to do it because it's going to help you, not to help me. It's going to help you, right? Like, and that's the kind of thing that I found with social, like, and that's human beings interacting. And I think people miss, like Cynthia said, like there's a human being on the other end of that wire, you know, on the other end of that Wi-Fi, whatever it is, right? It's called social media for a reason, because it's meant to be social. You're not supposed to be living in a bubble. I have a son that's in his 20s, right? And he's a computer geek, and he sits in his room and he works on his computer. And he said to me, I'm like, you don't want to go out? I was in my 20s, I was out all the time, right? And I'm like, don't you want to be social with people? He said, I am being social with people. I just online, just like Cynthia's story with her, with her family. And that's how you need to, for your business, you also have to look at it. Like, think about it. If somebody walked into a gift shop and they were bombarded by sales signs and people were yelling at them to buy this is the best thing, or go here, right? You would be so offended. But if they walked into this beautiful gift shop and there's all this, aesthetically pleasing imagery, like designs and setup, and the salesperson came up to you and said, hi, my name is Jane and I'm really happy you're here. Let me know if I can help you with anything. We have some great ideas if you need some help. And then was just present there waiting for you to ask them a question. And then when you asked the question, they answered it. What a shock. Do you know how many times I see people commenting on their posts and then they don't say anything? It drives me crazy, because I'm like, guys, you just left somebody hanging and you got to reply. Like, Cynthia, what do you think as far as like when somebody leaves you a comment on a social media post, how fast should you be replying to that person?
I think it gets real as soon as you can, as soon as you possibly can. There's certain tactical rules as it pertains to getting the most momentum out of your posts. The rule is to respond immediately. So take out about 30 minutes of time right after posting to make sure that you're responding to the comments that come in immediately. And then after that, because we have busy lives, then you could just get to it whenever you can.
So let's recap that. That was a lot, right? So first, build strong content. You need a hook, you need a story, you need a call to action. You need to look at your analytics. A lot of you might think you know your audience, but unless you're looking at the data, you really don't know, right? And so you might be posting the complete wrong content, and you might be solving the complete wrong problem because you don't know your audience and you're not gonna have the right content, right? So let's, in the last couple minutes, I wanna break this down tactically, because as an entrepreneur, it's overwhelming. Not even just, let's forget about content. Let's not even, let's back up. Like, where the hell should I be posting, right? You have Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. Like, there's so many different platforms. So let's break each of them down. What kind of audience is on there? Who should be posted on there? Let's make this a very quick exercise and let's break it down. So let's start with Instagram. So to me, Instagram is now actually kind of trying to compete with TikTok, right? So who's on Instagram and who should be posting on Instagram?
So Instagram is fast and furious growing. So I really think Instagram is a must-have for a business. It should be, you're targeting, Gen Z and millennials are on every single platform for the most part. So let's just knock them down out a little. They're everywhere. This is their time, right? Like, social media is just like the thing they have, like, it's part of their lives, right? So, but let's say this is 25, 35 strong, but it is skewing up. It's where you want to post beautiful imagery, right? This has been said that it is going to be going towards the video platform. So that's why Reels is getting so much attention right now. So I'm looking at businesses there getting those easy way to communicate with your people. So the DMs, they're on the platform already, you're making it easy for them. So I'm thinking, look at that strongly. If you're, I'm going to go into another topic. So I'm going to stop there for Instagram and pass it over to Cynthia to add to that.
So I absolutely agree with you, Maggie. So Instagram is where everyone is, right? Gen Z, people complain about it, but it's still where the power is right now. Gen Z, millennials, older generations, they may not be posting for their businesses, but some of them are posting about their families, So everyone's on Instagram. Facebook, right now isn't very younger generation leaning, to be honest. It's mostly very boomer leaning at the moment, Facebook. So depending on what your offer is, if your offer is something that can appeal to that generation, you definitely want to be on Facebook as well. TikTok is typically very Gen Z leaning, right? But surprisingly, there is this gap. And so there are a lot of Gen Zs and then a lot of like boomers on TikTok as well. However, the potential to convert from TikTok, I'll let you take this, Maggie. I'm not sure about the potential to convert into business from TikTok. I know about the potential to convert into TikTok, into business from Instagram, because that's literally how I built my entire business, right?
Right.
So, TikTok.
I'm just interrupting you. TikTok is actually amazing. And I argue, and we're recording this, I guarantee you in the next 2 years, I think TikTok is going to completely overhaul Instagram, like run it over, in my opinion.
I agree with you, Alexa. The reason why I agree is TikTok tends to be one of the most creator-friendly platforms right now. And what happens when you're a creator and the platform is friendly to you? You create more. And so you attract more audiences. So I think TikTok is on a trajectory to beat Instagram in the near future. And then, of course, you have LinkedIn, which everyone knows is a professional platform. LinkedIn isn't very challenging, to be honest. LinkedIn is easy to work, right? Because they don't have algorithms that reduce the reach of your content. Content tend to have a longer shelf life on TikTok as well. So there's like a post I posted like 2 weeks ago and people are still liking. People are still seeing and liking, for instance, right? On LinkedIn, right? So yeah, I think I covered all the social media. I'll hand this back to Maggie to cover whatever else I didn't cover.
Yeah, and I want to hit on a couple of the points. Like LinkedIn, great for B2B. It's, it is gaining popularity with millennials now. They are starting to see that's where they're getting jobs. That's where they're getting connections. We heard about the new news about Elon Musk interested in buying Twitter, right?
Yes.
So now Twitter was predicted to kind of lose users fast over the next 5 years. Like they were going to drop like significantly. Now this may change things. So I'm interested to see. I always say Twitter is like Cher. Sometimes she's at the top of the charts and sometimes you don't hear about her for decades, right? But she's always there.
I love that. I love that analogy.
I know, right? It's so much fun. But one of the things we didn't talk about was YouTube, which is a great platform to get out your content. I know Alexa's all over YouTube and she does great there. I built my channel during COVID and I go live every Monday and I post consistently. And it's a great way for me to build my resources as well. And I feel like people come to me because they've watched the YouTube and they have a feeling for who I am because they get to see me in action, right? So YouTube's great for long form video, even though they're doing shorts now because they see what's going on with TikTok, who's the new kid on the block, who's killing it. And what I think you're so right, Cynthia, when it comes to how they're so creator friendly. Influencers are starting to migrate from the time they're spending on Instagram and migrating over to TikTok because they're finding it to be a much more engaging platform, right? They're seeing more results and it is gaining more popularity. The one other one that we really didn't mention was Google Business Profile. Now that helps with your SEO, right? So if somebody's searching for social media marketing in Google, Google is 78% of the world uses Google as your primary search engine, right? So this is something you should be on. Some people don't set up their Google Business platform. And that's also changing. They used to have an app. They used to be called Google My Business. Now that's all changing. So look, it's a lot to absorb. I usually say pick 1 or 2 platforms and kill it in that platform. And then start adding on to the other ones. It can be a little overwhelming for most people. So I usually say, you could probably do Facebook, Instagram together. But look at Instagram. So how many, and Alexa, because you're all over Instagram too. Like Instagram is more than just one platform, let's be honest, because it's, you got your feed, you have reels, you have stories, you have video, right? You have live. There's like 5 different things you can do on Instagram. Yeah. I think they need to figure out what to do. They're trying to be everything to everybody. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how TikTok revolutionizes the world, right?
Yeah. TikTok just
100%.
added stories too, right? They have stories now on TikTok, like the disappearing
TikTok did just launch. Yeah, they did just launch. So let's summarize this conversation, because we said a lot here, right? So you guys got a plan, right? But simplify. You don't have to be on every single platform, right? If you're looking to go after, let's say, individuals in your service base and you're going after, I think Instagram is the platform for you, right? Especially, in my opinion, I think Instagram is really millennials. Like, that's, if you're going after people right now that are like 25 to like 44, I think Instagram is a hot spot. Facebook, and also let's backtrack to, like, content in general on Instagram is going to be very different. They want really engaging, beautiful video and photography and nice design. So very different content. People are kind of going there to scroll and to see what's visually out there. Facebook, people want to get to know you on Facebook. They want to see you live. They want to see you like behind the scenes, right? They want to know what's going on. They want to be asked questions. They want to have conversations. It's a very different platform, very different content strategy. And in addition to that, you're really probably targeting people that are, more like 45 plus on there, right? Now, I'm not saying there's nobody under 45, there is, but there's definitely skews a little bit older, right? But again, you're really going to be targeting more people, unless you're going after small businesses. It's going to be more going after the individual. If you're service-based, going after the individual, like a CEO or business owner of a small business, or an entrepreneur, or if you're selling products, things like that. Where LinkedIn could be B2C or B2B, but really is a B2B platform. And pretty much everybody's on LinkedIn, right? And, again, it's a very different content, because only 2% of users on LinkedIn right now are even doing content. Right. So it's a wide open platform. I honestly think LinkedIn is an incredible opportunity for somebody if you really get on there and ace it. And then TikTok, I agree. I think that we're still going. I've actually made money off TikTok, ironically, but it's still exploring, right? People don't take the content as serious right now. It's more of an entertainment platform. It is starting to lean more educational as well, but it's definitely much more entertainment. It's really brand awareness right now. Ads are super, super cheap. We have a couple of our clients, as you know, Cynthia, because you did the ads for TikTok, and we're getting like crazy impressions for super, super cheap. And, the results are wonky a little bit, where like Facebook and Instagram is a little bit more predictable, right? So, and YouTube, for me, it's part of that trust factor. You need an audience, you need to build trust, and you need to be able to monetize it. While you can gain an audience on all of these platforms, to me, YouTube, I've used more as a platform to build trust across all my platforms. So I'm taking that content, posting it on Facebook, Instagram, pretty much everywhere. And the amount of feedback that I get from it is absolutely incredible. People are like, oh, I watched your last 4 videos. I'm ready to sign up right now, because it builds that trust, right? So that's my quick summary. Guys, this was incredible. I mean, this was like so informational. And I think if we can have you walk away with anything, just simplify it. Center focus, start with one, build it out, have some success on it. You can monetize any platform. I would say the platforms that you can monetize the best is definitely LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, right? I would start with one of those 3 and then expand off of those. I probably wouldn't hit YouTube or TikTok until you have at least 1 or 2 of these other platforms that are ace. If you're a B2B, LinkedIn, like straight LinkedIn. So that's the quick summary. Wow, that was incredible. And I hope that you enjoyed this episode. To get access to all of our podcast episodes, you can go to thynktankmillionairepodcast.com. And Maggie, I know that you have a simple solution called painless posting for everybody. It is literally social media in 5 minutes a day. Where can people find more information on that?
So just go to painlessposting.com and you can find out all about it. I have a little video that gives you a little kind of view of behind the scenes. And then you can try the 7-day challenge, which will give you a real good feel for it, because this is where businesses struggle, right? It's coming up with the idea. It's this lays out, it's a template for graphics and captions with all the hashtags and everything. So you don't have to worry about coming up with this stuff. We figure out all the buckets and all that other stuff. It's amazing. It's one of the things, like, this is what we do for our prime clients. And, and you could also check us out at masteritmedia.com, and go to our socials. Man, I give so much away on my socials, like Cynthia, like it's crazy town.
I will put all of the links, including Maggie's social, in the show notes. And if you have not already, make sure to hit that subscription button. We're going to keep talking about social. And guys, by the way, for everyone listening, the more you share our podcast and the more podcasts you listen to, we're going to create content based on where you're listening, right? So we notice that you're listening a lot to our lead gen podcast episodes. You're listening a lot to our mistake episodes, like what mistakes are and how to fix them. And you're listening to a lot of the social media. So we're going to start doing more content in those areas. So if you really like certain content, A, write us on social media, let us know, but also B, share it so more people are viewing, because then we'll do more content in that area. So thank you, Maggie and Cynthia. It's amazing as always to have you, and we will see you at our next episode.